So yesterday, I went to the Panama City Commission meeting and had a few things to say, but I want to point something out to you. This is going to be pretty good, pretty important stuff because there is something, a big general kind of thing that's been going on in Bay County since 2015, and that is this effort by the um, by the kingmakers, by the puppet masters, really the St. Joe development and all of that, to change sort of the complexion, the demographics of Bay County, and it's, I mean, it really hurts regular people. I remember in the debate with Mark Sheldon and Stuart Tedimer when they were running for Panama City Beach mayor, which Stewart won and Sheldon is gone, the St. Joe puppet. Um, but he said something he thought was safe. It was at the women. I don't remember if it was the Republican women or I think it was the Democrat women voters or something, League of Women Voters. And Mark Sheldon they were talking about illegal immigration and migrant workers and this sort of thing. And they were also talking about, like tourist season and summer jobs. And Stuart Tedimer said, I'd really like to see us get to where teenagers in high school, 11th, 12th graders can have seasonal work, can learn responsibility. And Sheldon just jumps on this. No, we need migrant workers for all the St. Joe developments. I mean, it was unreal. And that's why we need more hotels, so we can be like New York. It was crazy as hell. And I made a big deal about it. But I'm telling you that same thing is happening here in Bay County. It's happening here in Bay County. I believe there is a move to turn not just Margaritaville and parts of Panama City Beach and north of Back Beach Road and stuff, but I believe there's a real effort. Look, what they're building around here is not for you. It's for the big developers, and they need a place to house the migrant workers. And that's why they want to build all the hotels. That's why they want to build the apartment complexes. That's why they want the multi-use pathways. It's not for you. That's why you see developer William Harrison in Panama City, the kingmaker that pulls Josh Street around by the nose. That's why they're doing what they're doing. And one of the most recent things that is happening is there is a older neighborhood, a working class neighborhood, middle class neighborhood in Panama City. And there's a lot that's big enough to build 10 houses on. And it's in this neighborhood, and it's near the bay. And a developer bought the lot, but he wants to build 12 houses, not just 10. And the neighborhood is concerned because it's not as though you've got families coming in, buying a lot and building a home like they all have around there. But it sort of feels like somebody's coming in and buying high density housing in the middle of their neighborhood. And initially the talks were that they wanted to make that the whole neighborhood area, they wanted to rezone it to commercial. And the neighbors flipped out. They said, look, this is where we raise our family. You're always talking about where we live, work, and play. Well, this is where we live and play. We don't want other people, working in the neighborhood kind of thing, And there was that planning board meeting where you had Mike Burke, the owner of Burke and Blue. Big boy Mike was telling everybody at the planning board meeting when the neighbors all showed up and said, please don't do this. Just, don't turn it into commercial. Just say, okay, they can build 12 homes, but please make sure that it's not, our whole neighborhood doesn't turn into a commercial. And Mike Burke told everybody that it was impossible to do that. And I watched him tell Bill Davenport that for 10 minutes. And the whole planning board said, yeah, it's impossible. It's nothing that could ever happen. You can't You can't just keep it R1 and drop it to 5,000 square feet, make it so that you can have, okay, they can have 10, 12 homes as long as they're unattached, that it's not an apartment complex and it's not commercial. Mike Burke said that's impossible to do. So I went up at the planning board meeting and I said, who made that rule? Well, the city commission. Can it be changed? No. Can it be changed, Mike Burke, as you're sitting here today? I even said that because lawyers like to say that when you're under oath. While you're sitting here today, is it your testimony? And he had to say, well, yeah, they can change it. Finally. Finally, you admit to everybody it can't be changed. So yesterday, guess what? That's what they were doing. And that's what the people wanted in the first place. But Commissioner Brian Granger said, look, one thing we don't have enough of in Panama City is affordable housing. And I'm going to take him at his word that he means it and that he really would like to see housing that can be afforded by residents. But when government talks about affordable housing, I'm telling you, they're talking about high density housing that is not affordable, but is more like $2,500 a month, to where you have to have 5 or 6 migrants living in the place to do the work for the St. Joe Company. And the people are being pushed out of town. And it gets even worse. About 4 years ago, Panama City was talking about, Mayor Bernicki and everybody was talking about, along with the county commission, Tommy Ham, who was a home builder who moonlighted as a commissioner until he got voted out. They were talking about how, after the hurricane devastated the homes in a underserved area, we got grants and we're going to build homes so that they can buy them back. They can have affordable homes for like $140,000. But then all of a sudden it was getting up into the 220s. And it became very clear to me that these homes were not going to be bought by the people who had theirs torn down during the hurricane, but these were going to be built by the politicians. And what I didn't realize is that some of these homes were going to be bought by the community outreach director, the HUD director at the city, who was also doing work for the county. Michael Johnson. I mean, this is kind of quite a story here. Michael Johnson, you want to see what's Michael Johnson doing now? Time. Michael Johnson was arrested and charged with embezzling $500,000 from a children's nonprofit for which he was the treasurer since like 12 or something. But here's the craziest part of all. Guess who oversaw this children's nonprofit called something like Friends of After School Services? It's a nonprofit in City Hall. It's a nonprofit run by City Hall. And they had their HUD director, community outreach director, was the treasurer forever. And he was stealing $500,000 from it. But here's the crazy part. This guy was at the very same time also the president of the Gulf Coast Children's Advocacy Center. He was also the president of the Gulf Coast Children's Advocacy Center, on the very same board with Sheriff Ford and State Attorney Larry Bassford and the police chief, several deputies. They were all on the board. At the very same time, he was the president of another children's nonprofit, the Gulf Coast Children's Advocacy Center. But Sheriff Ford and everybody said, no, he was super clean as the president and treasurer at the Gulf Coast Children's Advocacy Center. Now, he was buying some houses. We don't know how he got all the money to buy 11 houses instead of actually using these houses for affordable housing. Oh, it goes on, but I'll kind of slow it down a little bit. I'm going to show you a report I did 4 years ago on this, and that will set up why I'm so pissed off at the Panama City Commission. If there's one group of people who should not be talking about affordable housing, which always ends up to be unaffordable when government gets involved, and then they end up with the houses, and you end up with the shaft. It's really, really upsetting to me what they're doing to these neighborhoods and the lies of attorneys like Mike Burke trying to trick people. Oh, we're just trying to help out the neighborhood. No, you're not. No, you're not, Josh Street. That's not what you're doing. It's not what you're doing at all. Let me thank a couple of sponsors so I can get right into this and really flow through it with you.
You want to look good? You want to feel good? Little John's Big and Tall is where it's at. Right across the street from Sky's Pizza Pie, 5700 North Davis Highway. You can find out more online at littlejohnsbigandtall.com. He's also a member of the iTex trading community, where your iTex dollars are welcome.
Strong, effective leadership. 3 words that could mean the difference between prison and your freedom. I'm Al Saulene, your Panama City Beach lawyer. 850-215-0628.
All right, let me show you what a report I did about 4 years ago on Michael Johnson, all right, and what they were doing. And everybody in the city, all right, even General McQueen, who was the city manager, all the commissioners, nobody could believe it. They were shocked to find out there was embezzling going on, shocked to find out that the treasurer for the last 10 years of the Friends of After School for the Children's Services, nonprofit run by the city, was being robbed blind. But, you know, he was also the president of the Gulf Coast Children's Advocacy Center and treasurer since 2013 there. But since the sheriff and all the prosecutors and law enforcement officers, to include the Panama City police chief, who is right now the treasurer, the former police chief right now. Anyway, there was nothing weird going on at the other children's nonprofit, just this one, and right under their noses, and nobody could believe it was happening. Well, 4 years ago, I was doing my best to tell everybody that the people are getting screwed by all these people, and the only guy to go to prison was the black guy. But I don't want to get into that. I don't want to get into that right now. All right. Let me show you. Yeah, here we go. This is a story I did June of 2020, and it will show you what I'm talking about. Because remember, Michael Johnson was doing stuff for the commissioners. Robert Carroll is an engineer of record. Tommy Ham was a home builder. Griff Griffiths all of a sudden was a home builder. And Michael Johnson's buying homes and promising affordable housing in Panama City. So watch this little special I did back then.
Agenda. This is number 12, the Local Housing Assistance Plan, Mr. Michael Johnson.
Well,
Thank you for coming,
nobody
sir.
knew.
The floor is yours.
Floor is yours.
Yes,
While
sir.
Michael's making his
Way up here. This is Tommy Ham. Well, Michael's making his way up here. And he got the deals to build the homes that never ever helped a single person. Well, Michael's making his way up here. Michael, we really appreciate you, Michael. You are just the best, Michael. Oh, wow. We didn't know he was doing any of that. Watch.
his way up. I'm going to have to recuse myself on this one. The potential for my company to profit off of this is a little too great.
Building affordable housing. Good
I'm
for
going
you.
to have to sit this one out.
Thank you, sir.
You hear that? Griff Griffin said, by building affordable housing, good for you. Hey, nobody ever got the affordable housing, guys. Griff, no one ever got it. Good for you. 11 homes Michael Johnson ended up with. This is insane. Nobody knew. Nobody knew. Just a black guy stealing stuff without us looking. Can you believe it? No one's buying it.
Appreciate that. Mr. Johnson, go ahead.
Good morning, Chairman, Commissioners, and County Manager's Office. The document you have before you is the Local Housing Assistance Plan, or the LHAP, which is
Nobody gets assistance but them.
was adopted in 2017. The plan covers fiscal year 2018 through 2021 and is designed to explain how we intend to use the state allocations we receive from Florida Housing Finance Corporations.
It's all a racket, man. When you hear government talking about affordable housing, it's a racket. It's just rare that somebody gets caught. And, you know, the FBI was actually pushing the city to do this. City didn't ever want to fess up to this.
Due to the devastation of Hurricane Michael and the pandemic of COVID-19, we need to modify these strategies within the plan to include items that will help our citizenry recover from these catastrophes.
You see, you can always, you having trouble getting it out there, Michael? Because they knew. They can't barely even say it sometimes.
These modifications include purchase assistance. Before, you were able to receive up to $25,000 in down payment and closing cost assistance. We've now increased that amount up to $50,000. The maximum purchase price, before it was $175,000. It's now up to $283,900.
How is that good? So now it's going to cost $225,000 for low-income housing that that Tommy Ham gets to build. How's that good for the citizenry?
Regarding owner-occupied rehab, the max you could receive in prior years was $25,000. We've now increased that up to $105,000. Demolition reconstruction, $85,000 is now up to $185,000. Disaster mitigation, we've now changed that terminology to disaster assistance. Before, you could receive up to $40,000. Now you can receive up to $85,000.
Remember, two of these guys up on there are home builders, and the other guy's the engineer for all of it.
$185,000 in assistance. Emergency repair, it was $7,500 before, now it's $10,000. Again, because of COVID, many citizens were not working, so their homes may be facing foreclosure. So foreclosure prevention, mortgage assistance, before we were able to provide up to $7,500, we're now going to do up to $10,000. Acquisition rehab went from $175,000 to $185,000. Land acquisition went up to $185,000 per lot. And new construction or infill housing also went up to $283,900. By making the suggested modifications, we open the aperture for more citizens to apply and receive assistance using the disaster and HHRP funding received as a result of the changes to this plan. Staff concurs with the county manager's recommendations to approve the modifications to this plan.
Staff concurs.
Also, to help with the situation, rehousebay.org is our website. We've placed applications online, and that website should be up and functioning by this Friday. I'm available for any questions.
I have questions for Griff Griffiths, who's now state rep, for Tommy Ham, who's got voted out, for Robert Carroll, who is still a commissioner and the engineer of record for so many of these projects. How many people benefited? How much money flowed through there? Can you show us that?
Do you have any?
Any questions for Mr. Johnson?
I don't have any questions. I do have a comment.
Bill Dozier, former commissioner.
This is huge. This is
Actually, Bill Dozier, I believe it's later in November that they switch seats, but Bill Dozier's done. He's not running anymore. He's been there a long time. Bill Dozier is going to talk about how fantastic this is for the community. Listen to this.
a real big deal to be able to help people in Bay County. Well, I appreciate all the work that you and your staff and the county staff has put into this. One of the aspects that stand out to me are, we spoke a while back about one of the goals was helping people getting from renting to home ownership. And that is what we want to do, is reverse the numbers that we have seen in the past from what were the numbers, 80-20 or
it was 70-30. There were 70% renters and 30% homeowners.
So there was 70-30, and our goal is to improve those if we can flip them around and have more home owners than renters. And so one of the aspects in this plan, I'm seeing that the $283,000 is the max on that would a house that under this program, somebody who qualifies would get up to $50,000 worth of help, whether in closing costs or whether in down payment. And I think that's huge. It's a big step in the direction of helping people to have home ownership versus renting.
Hey, it didn't happen. What is the accountability? Huh? Only one guy gets held accountable. Only one guy
to own a house. And I think that's a big part of this plan, and it really stands out to me.
Thank you. I agree 100%.
Self-aggrandizement.
Iterate the same things. This is fantastic. I mean, it's been
This is Robert Carroll, the commissioner, who's the engineer of record for a lot of these projects.
we've been in the works for this a long time, and just to show how important it is and the need for it, how many current cases do you have? You told us on 101s.
Well, right now for purchase assistance, for example, we have well over 250 applications. So that would certainly, turn some of those individuals into homeowners.
That's amazing. So
Oh,
glad to see
amazing.
it.
Oh,
Thank you,
wow.
Mike.
Wow. What a amazing, benevolent group of people. And not only that, Michael Johnson, why don't you tell us, you're the president, aren't you, of the Gulf Coast Children's Advocacy Center, where you sit on the board with Sheriff Tommy Ford and State Attorney Larry Bassford. Tell us about that. Well, I was very, very clean when I was on the go there. But what about when you came to you were at the same time the treasurer for the nonprofit for kids here? That one I did steal about $500,000. Well, nobody's perfect, Michael. It's really amazing what you're doing for the community. And everybody up here is very, very grateful. Aren't you, Robert Carroll? Yes. Aren't you, Griff Griffiths? Yeah. Tommy Ham? Mm-hmm. We are just very, very glad to help so many people with low-income housing in the community, with all the grant money flowing through.
Michael, what you told me the percentage, when we bumped it from the 175 to 283.9, it went from how many people qualified? It opened the door to 40%.
Over 40%. Yes, sir.
40%.
Mhm.
Yeah. I appreciate the work y'all done.
Thank
You
you.
and staff. Thank you.
Do you see that once we come online that that number will just increase automatically?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, it will.
Gotcha.
Okay. I bet it
So
will.
we're looking at a Friday rollout for the website.
Yes, sir.
Perfect.
Rehousebay.org.
Rehousebay.org for all the public out there.
Great.
All right. That is our regular agendas. Any other questions? Is there a motion?
Motion to approve?
Second.
All right. So if you wonder why I get so ticked off when I hear them talk about, affordable housing and we just want high density housing for the developer in the neighborhood, and we really care about the neighborhood. No, you don't. No, everyone in the neighborhood said, please don't do this. But they're going to do it anyway. So anyway, I went up and spoke to the city commission yesterday, and I'm going to show you what that was like. I got two short videos that I want to show you just right after this.
Don't let back pain and neck pain get you down. Find relief at Brown Chiropractic Center on St. Andrews Boulevard in Panama City. Dr. Sherry Brown helps people heal naturally with chiropractic adjustments and deep tissue massage. Call 769-3777.
All right, I think this is the right video. So I talk about a few things, but let's see. If this is not the right one, I'll show you the other one. Both are from yesterday. On record, please, that whenever I hear about underground utilities, we need them, right? We need them. But I just want everybody. Let me just check what I'm saying here, and I'll know. And we can't go past 7 o'clock. The sewage spills, and part of the reason. Give me one moment. That caused a tremendous amount of damage. Yeah. Okay. So it's the other one. Let me show you the other video that has to do with what I was just talking about. All right. Here we go. This was yesterday. Sworn to tell the truth. Do I need to do that?
No, sir. It's a public hearing, not a quasi-judicial.
Oh.
But you should tell the truth.
Yes. Yes. I have to know whether I'm required by law or not. You know how it is.
It's good. Touche.
So I was watching from the Liberty Lounge on YouTube the meeting, and I noticed that Commissioner Street, you said that late this afternoon you had met with the developers, and you had gotten something from them and handed it to everybody. Is that what I heard? Was that right?
No, I went and did research on lot size, and that's what I provided. I didn't get anything from the developer.
Okay. Could I please make a public record request for that item? And also with public record requests, I have asked for the $500,000 that has gone from one thing to another thing. It's somebody can help me what that is, the name of that $500,000 grant that was repurposed, and it's sitting somewhere. I've asked for sort of a chain of custody where the grant came from, I think in 2019 or 2020. There's $500,000 floating around from a grant they received a while back that they said could not be repurposed. Well, it was repurposed a couple of times, and you wouldn't believe how hard it is to find $500,000 from the city of Panama City. Want something like that. And where it is now, where's that 500 grand? I'm just hoping to get that, please. Thank you.
I think that's Lindenwood, but I'm not sure.
I'm not sure. Okay, I'll grab that in just a moment. Thank you. So, you know, I listened to this conversation about this neighborhood, and it's so frustrating because I see the big picture. I kind of know where y'all are headed. And I just wish we could be more transparent to everybody. So there's this neighborhood, and I was at the planning board meeting where, by the way, your boss, Mike Burke of Burke and Blue, is the lawyer for the planning board, right? And Mike Burke told Mr. Davenport that it was impossible, he said, watch the video, it's remarkable, to change it to 5,000 square feet. He said, it's impossible to change the land development code. And I went up there and I asked him, I said, you know, what authority is is it an ordinance? Yeah, it's an ordinance. Can anybody change it? Yeah, the commission can change it. So it was just unbelievably dishonest. Of course you guys can change it. And here we are doing exactly what Mike Burke said you couldn't do. But here we are listening to this conversation about this neighborhood. Nobody wants smaller lots. This is not like, you know, people are going to come in, a family's going to come in and buy a home. You guys want to reduce it so that the developer can build 12 homes rather than 10. And you did actually say, Brian Granger, this is about affordable housing. Really what y'all are doing is bringing affordable housing to somebody's neighborhood, and they don't want that. Why don't you just say the truth? You're going to flood the neighborhood with affordable housing. And I'll come back in a moment and talk about your record when it comes to affordable housing and Michael Johnson in a moment. Thank you. All right. So I showed you that, right? It's terrible. It's worse than terrible. I mean, what they're really good at is patting themselves on the back about how much they care about, you know, people in the community. But they never see any crimes going on. They're always shocked if somebody actually gets popped. And usually when somebody does get popped, it's to protect the real criminals around here, I've noticed. You know, I'm going to show you the other comments I made when I went up to the commission, because the other thing, Panama City has got me so fired up. Because especially Josh Street and Brian Granger has just been so disappointing to me. I'm just going to tell you the truth. I mean, what they're doing or what they're not doing when it comes to the massive amounts of pollution. How can there be a city commission that has millions of gallons of raw sewage flooding and polluting the waters, and it be so bad that the city wants to overspend $1 million and buy a piece of land that has toxic waste underneath it? Panama City Commission is the biggest threat to the environment, I mean, in Northwest Florida. And the amount of time they spend talking about fixing that is exactly zero. They complain that the meetings go on for 5 hours. When you have Josh Street and those meeting with developers hours before the commission meeting and then going up there and making their arguments against the city, Josh Street and Jonathan Hayes, the city manager, are not looking out for the city, which is their responsibility. They are like the advocates for the developers. And it doesn't matter how polluted it gets. It's unreal. It is unreal. I'm going to show you what I had to say to them about that. But I do want to tell you about something I did today, and I posted. I sent it out to those of you who are subscribed at Substack, and it's my favorite video I've made for you. If you go to bernie.substack.com, you'll see it. I'm going to give you just a little. So for paid subscribers, I send a behind the scenes video at least once per week. And it could be anything. It could be me talking about this book, which I did today, my favorite Liberty book, The Law by Frederick Bastiat. In fact, it sits behind me as well. But I read part of it. I spent about 12 minutes just sitting on the couch with you if you're a paid subscriber. And I just want to give you maybe 20, 30 seconds of what these behind the scenes videos look like for paid subscribers. This was just the favorite one I did, if you'll just indulge me. And remember, all those books back there, I've read them. I have been studying government and politics for more than a quarter of a century. I mean, I take this stuff really seriously. And this book is what I say should be the first book on any Liberty library, written by Frederick Bastiat in 1850. And he examines what the proper relationship is between government and a free society. And here's me just sharing a little bit of it with you. Take a listen. He's talking about why government is not benevolent. Because when government starts to do things that are outside of its proper authority, protecting our rights, then you get one person running for office promising to help this group of people, another group, somebody else runs promising to help that group of people. And all of a sudden, does it sound familiar? All of a sudden, you've got all these groups of people at each other's throats. So this is part of the book. This is from the behind the scenes video today. Paid subscribers received it, and I'm trying to sell it to you. So if you would like to get something and support the show, become a paid subscriber at bernie.substack.com. Here you go.
For the support of life. A third will say, and with reason, that this would be an incomplete fraternity and that the law ought to provide them with the tools of labor and education. A fourth will observe that such an arrangement still leaves room for inequality and that the law ought to introduce into the most remote hamlets of luxury, literature, and the arts. This is the high road to communism. This is the high road to communism. In other words, legislation will be, as it is now, the battlefield for everybody's dreams and everybody's covetousness. Law is justice.
All right. So anyway, that's for paid subscribers, and I hope that you'll consider getting the behind the scenes video at bernie.substack.com at least once per week. Let's get now back to yesterday's Panama City Commission, where I had to go up in front of the all-powerful Politburo and say, hey, could you stop being the biggest threat in Bay County when it comes to pollution? Maybe could you do that? Here it is, image. And I didn't hear anything about it. I just want it on record, please, that whenever I hear about underground utilities, we need them, right? We need them. But I just want everybody to know who created an underground utility company just a year ago called T&S Construction, or TNS Solutions, I believe it is. And that's Senator Jay Trumbull, right? Started an underground utility company. Now, Jay Trumbull, who's a nice enough guy, knows about as much about underground utilities as Joe Biden. Okay. And to prove my point, his company caused a tremendous sewage spill. How many gallons was that? And y'all never talk about that. They don't give a damn.
Nowhere are we addressing
They don't give a damn.
the sewage spills. And part of the reason we have so many is your priorities are toward your developer friends. And we can't go past 7 o'clock.
Ding, ding,
because
ding.
that's just working too long. Look, I would like it if some, and I know what you're going to say, Bernie, you know what? It's going to be FPL or somebody's going to get the contract and they can hire whoever they want. And whoever they want ends up being the most connected people with the least experience that have done tremendous damage. Okay. And if nothing else, it would be really nice for the public to know who the subcontractors are
Am I right or wrong?
when you guys award contracts, because we do need to harden the utilities, obviously. But if this is just like happens so often around here, a gift to the well-connected who don't know anything about underground utilities, TNS, what is it again? Construction Solutions. That's his new company that caused a tremendous amount of damage, and I didn't hear anything about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Bernie.
They don't give a damn. So Josh Street is up for re-election in April. Josh Street is up for re-election in April. They run, I was wrong the other day. I said that they have 2-year terms. The commissioners have 4-year terms. The mayor is a 2-year term. So Josh Street's 4-year term has expired, and he's saying, please vote for me. I want to make life better for you. For all of you constituents, because I care so much about you. I pray hard for you. And I commit to keeping it clean here where we live, work, and play. So I wonder if everybody's going to buy that bullshit again, quite frankly. All right. Hey, I want to thank the Unknown Patriot for your support. Couldn't do it without each one of you, each of the sponsors. And that means those of you who throw a tip in the tip jar as well at patreon.com by becoming a patron. And I hope you'll consider it. It's anonymous. It's easy. You can quit at any time, as little as $5 a month. Jeez, that's the best money you can spend on the internet. I know it is. I'm confident about that. And that's at patreon.com/Bernie Thompson. Thank you for those who support my efforts to show you what the news doesn't show you. The only other folks who really work hard to show you is the Facebook page, The Beacon of Bay County. So make sure you follow the ladies at the Beacon of Bay County. They do phenomenal work showing you what's really going on at these meetings and behind the scenes. Thank you, and I'll see you soon.